Hey everybody, and welcome back to the very first episode of 2019. This is episode 113. On January 2nd, 2019, I am Clyde, and today I am visited by Jimmy Trammell.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Matthew Ross.
Hello.
And Michael Aston.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, guys, I feel like we just did this.
Well, no, we did it last year.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It was
well, it was a year ago, right?
Yeah, a year ago.
Yeah, well, of course, if you were living under a rock, you weren't aware we participated in the fourth annual Diamond Club Streamathon, which was over New Year's, and it was a lot of fun. There was towards the end, there was a problem with Extra Life, and we weren't able to collect donations after midnight Pacific time. But you know, we figured out a way around that. We had a movie party, and I don't know, did this freeze for anyone else? Oh, Al-Anon scared me there for a second. Okay. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks, guys, for hanging out.
Do we know how much money we raised this year? I know it was over 1,000. So
we raised a couple thousand as a like the entire group. I think we would have raised more. And the worst part was it went when they shut it down at the turn of the year. It was during Big Boys Jay's stream, and yeah, that was a shame because he had a thing where he was gonna do some stuff for donations, and then they couldn't get donations. Let's see.
That's just that.
Yeah, it was. But well. Next year, they'll figure that out.
That's what they said last year. Come on.
But no, we didn't use Extra Life last year. We used something completely different, I think.
Okay. Well, our little hour was fun, and I'm glad we did it. And I haven't drank that much in a while, so the rest of my day was spent. How was your movie party?
It was fun. It was a good movie. Yeah, it was, I would say it wasn't our standard movie party, but you know what? We had a lot of fun, and we had a good turnout. And
yeah, it sounds a little out of character because you said it was a good movie.
Well, we do watch good movies from time to time. It's just that a lot of times good movies mean that people aren't talking, they're too busy watching. But this, we watched Dead Snow, which is kind of the nice best of both worlds. It's a great movie, and it's got a lot of comment-worthy stuff. And then plus the fact that we didn't have to pay attention to the audio because it's a Norwegian film, so it was all subtitled.
Nice.
That helps.
Got to do more of those then, so you can, that because you get to talk over all of it, and everybody can still enjoy the movie. Totally makes sense.
So,
sounds like a good idea for the future.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I'm looking at our team. So our group, we raised $75 during our hour. So that's great. Thank you to everybody that donated. And then, but I'm not sure what the grand total was. I think it was.
To all of you who donated to watch me drink, damn you.
and again,
I'll do it again next year.
I will say a big part of that was Bad Weave matching funds. Yeah. So dude, went above and beyond. That's
me finishing off the whole drink in one. Yeah, that's all for Bad Wave. Good job, Bad Wave. Thank you.
Well, we should probably get into what we're here to talk about. Matt, what's going on?
So we're going to start this week with a story about the FTC. They've got a warning for us. Apparently what's going out is a phishing scam for members who have Netflix to let you know that you need to update your payment information. Don't click on this just because it is actually not from Netflix. It is from somebody who's going out and attempting to steal your information, including your credit card information in this case, in order to gain access to all your funds. So everybody should be aware that if it's not, if it says that you need to update your payment information, don't click on anything in that email.
Oh man, now I'm gonna have to go change my credit cards.
Yeah. So basically, it's a phishing scam from Netflix. Yeah, no. As a general rule of thumb, anytime I get an email that says go to your account, even if I know it's legitimate, I will go to the site, log into the account, and then see what's going on.
Don't use the link. Don't use the deep link.
Yeah,
right.
I made that mistake once, like probably 12 years ago, when this wasn't a common occurrence, and immediately figured it out, luckily. And it was for like email, so it was like, who cares? But yeah.
Yeah, good rule of thumb, never ever click on the link in the email. Just, if it's a service you utilize, you probably have it bookmarked or know the address off the top of your head, you know, your Discover card or your Wells Fargo bank account. Just type the address in the URL. It takes you a half a second and you get to the right place for sure.
And that's why I use the service LastPass, because even if I got kidnapped and they tortured me to get all my passwords, I couldn't tell them a single one. I don't know. I don't have.
You know your master password.
I can't give it up to you. I know that, but that will go to with me to my grave. So
yeah, and you know, I mean, it's important to realize that just looking at the address and stuff like that does nothing to protect you, right? They can fake it. They can use
spoof it,
alternate
easy.
ASCII characters, like something that looks like an O, but it's not really an O. It's another ASCII number. So again, don't ever click, even when it reads correctly or appears to be the right address. Copying it and pasting the address still could be a bad thing. Again, always type it into the URL.
We got one from we got one at work about 2 weeks ago that on the surface looked completely legitimate. If you went to it came from the correct domain. If you went to the website for the location that was supposedly sending us, it was the proper name and the proper email and the proper user, and all of the correct info was in there. There was like, the only thing that tipped it off from a user's standpoint is there's like 2 words that had bad grammar. And then, but I mean, our mail filtering system questioned it, and at first review, it was like, oh, yeah, this is this seems legitimate, but wait, why are they emailing everybody? Okay, wait, no, that doesn't. So
yeah, it's like I tell my daughter, you know, you get an email like that, don't click on the link. Use your smartphone app, right?
There you go.
Log in that way.
Yep.
Well, it's definitely more secure than a Windows machine, so that's true. All right, Movie Pass is, they somehow get into our news every single week. I don't know how they do it, but AMC's rival to Movie Pass, they're what do they call it? Movie Pass. I don't know what they call it.
Or...
The VIP system. Snubs.
I don't know.
Stubbs list.
Stubbs A list.
Stubbs A list.
They have they've come out and said that they have more than 600,000 subscribers, making them a fairly successful program for AMC. This may be the way of the future for the Movie Pass style things, where you have these Movie Pass style links directly linked to your chain of movies. And I'm actually that felt that way since the start with the the Cinemark version of this, which gives you one ticket per month for $10, but everything else is 20% off. So, and with those guys, if you don't use your ticket, it carries over. So, which is where it makes sense to me. So,
That's cool.
Could this be the future? Could this be the way that we can get our movie subscriptions for the future? Or, I don't know, are we going to go back to Movie Pass? Is somebody going to figure it out? That's the question.
Yeah, I think it's convenient, which is nice, because convenience is always the best way to go when you're providing a service. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Right now, nobody has like the absolute. They don't have it completely figured out. They're all still making changes. AMC's good if you are an AMC person. If you go to AMC all the time, that's the only theater you go to, that's great. But it's not good if you like variety, like sometimes you go to Alamo or you go to a Marcus or a Regal or whatever. Not to mention, like, as I found out at Christmas, when I bought a bunch of AMC tickets for my two brother-in-laws, because AMC's everywhere. Oh, they don't even have AMC in their town.
Right.
So, so that's not a good solution. It's not a one size fits all. But, people are happy. As long as they're happy, then it's a good service. So, more power.
Yeah, similarly, Alamo Drafthouse is running a beta of what they call Season Pass. And so it's not available in my area, but I'm the kind of person, I will jump aboard this as soon as it's available in my area because I love Alamo Drafthouse. If there's any option, I always go to movies there. I'll go a day later or at a later showing or whatever it takes to be able to see it at an Alamo Drafthouse because I like it enough more than the other alternatives here. And so I would be more than happy to jump aboard this kind of thing. If I was an AMC guy, I would totally sign up for the AMC club. But I think this is the way. I kind of lean towards this is the way of the future. That the movie theaters themselves offer something similar that gives you the ability to get in more often, especially like the higher end theaters that. In my opinion, kind of have a little bit more to offer than just the movie, right? Like Alamo Drafthouse has a full menu, and most people, I think, everybody that I know, spends money on food and stuff like that. So if they're able to make their money that way, and they can get you into their restaurant kind of at that point more often as a result, then that's a big win for them. So I think that it's really powerful, especially for the places that have better concessions, meals, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, I mean, this seems like the movie theaters trying to get in on the subscription game. The same as like a lot of these software makers and that kind of thing. But I mean, Movie Pass. It's a great idea, great concept, but the business model just kind of failed on them, really. And that's what's yet remains to be seen, right? Will this business model actually make money for any of these guys?
The big difference, of course, is that, as I was indicating, right, like if Alamo Drafthouse runs the deal themselves, they make a little bit of money to cover the cost of their tickets. But as long as you buy any concessions and stuff, then they're okay because they're making the money on that. So
yeah, I will say though, I'm not sure if I mentioned it on here, but even if you are subscribing to a service at like AMC or Regal, one of the in-house, if you have an Alamo Drafthouse in your area, you need to go see the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse there. It is totally worth it. Because of all not for the reason you're thinking. No, it's because of all the pre-movie stuff that they had.
Yes,
they were showing like this Mexican evil Spider-Man movie. They kept showing these Spider-Man versus the Hulk toy commercials from the 80s, and it was just all the, and then they had they just had a whole bunch of stuff beforehand that totally made it worth it.
Yeah, I got there like 20 minutes early, and I waited until the preview started to run to the bathroom because I didn't want to miss any of that stuff. It was
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, following up on that, though, you've heard me talk about my dealings with Cinemia and
how you hate them.
Well, it's not that I hate them. I just found their service annoying.
Horrible?
No, it wasn't horrible. It was just there were too many hoops to jump through.
You wanted to burn them like a house. You want to burn them down. You were so done with them.
I finally got to my breaking point where it was just like, I'm
done with them.
I was done. Well, I got an email today. I got an email from them that said, hey, those things that you were complaining about, we're fixing them. So, number one, they're bringing back physical cards for those that don't want to use the app.
Yay!
And then so like if you like the Movie Pass style and you want to buy the ticket at the counter, you can do that, which you couldn't do. But if you're using the cardless, before they were generating a random card number every single time you did a transaction, so you had to manually jump between two different apps and transpose these numbers into the like Fandango or whatever the movie purchasing app was you were using, and you couldn't save it. So they're finally doing that. You're getting a dedicated number, which will resolve that. And then they've also integrated their app into 40 of the movie chains. So now you can finally buy, you'll be able to buy a ticket directly without leaving the app.
That's good.
So, I mean, and those were like essentially the three things that I was super irritated by.
Except for now, it's still however much for 3 movies a month, right?
Oh, no. I was using the unlimited. I was paying the $30 a month for the unlimited plan. It was that wasn't an issue. I mean, because $30 for unlimited movies is fine. Right. Or 30 to 60, it's in there someplace. I think I got a special deal. But no, it was their app and all the hoops you had to jump through. It just made it impossible. Like, there were several times where by the time I would get all the numbers and I'd get them over to the other app, I'd run out of time and I'd have to go through the process all over again. And yeah, I hated that.
So in other words, you love Cinemia again. Yay!
We'll see. Like I said, I will probably give them another chance once the summer season rolls around.
Okay.
For the time being, I can't think of anything that I need to see. So yeah, it's I'll put the link to the article or to the email into the chat if anybody wants to read it, because I think it does actually have my name in it someplace. Up in my browser tab, it says, Clyde, we've said it, we've done it. Okay,
yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it.
All right. Well, LG has coming out with some new sound bars for people who are interested in them. There, LG is probably going to introduce these at CES next week. But they've got 3 new sound bars of different sizes that they include Dolby Atmos and Google Assistant support. These new sound bars are able to provide actually some of the high quality DTS-X support as well, by providing additional wireless speakers you can put behind you and the subwoofer as well. So these look pretty cool. When you guys go to CES, I recommend you at least check them out.
Yeah, definitely will. Yeah, it's that's been the one big for those that have moved to a 4K TV that use a sound bar. That's been one thing that has been kind of a pain point is the fact that you've got DTS built. If you've got DTS built into your TV, well, you're getting inferior sound.
Out of your soundbar.
Yeah.
Well, also, it to me, putting the assistant right in the soundbar, whichever assistant you like, makes a lot of sense. This is just the right spot to put it, especially if it can go back and talk and display stuff through the TV as well. So, soundbars with that being able to do some pass through with it, so it can do some overlay and maybe make it also a 5-channel HDMI switch just for the. To make it awesome, yeah, that'd be awesome.
I just hope
make it all happen.
I just hope that these sound bars are better than the ones I've seen recently, where it creates a lag. And I was at my buddy's house, and I think ESPN is the worst about it. It's one of the sports channels, but when it's fine when nobody was paying attention to TV, but then I'm watching, and the words that are coming out while other people are talking. It's not even matching up with the person. And once I noticed it, I couldn't unnotice it, and it became unbearable.
Okay, so some TVs and other devices allow for a delay to sync up your audio, but that sounds slow enough. Are you sure he wasn't connecting to it via Bluetooth?
No, I'm sure. It was just I don't know what brand it was. He's still a cable guy. So it could have been a problem between the cable box and and I think his soundbar may go to the TV first and then down to the sound. So I don't know how it was set up. All I know is I've seen that in a couple places, and I saw it on a display at Best Buy the other day. And it's like, yeah, you really shouldn't be displaying this. This is like showing people why they shouldn't buy this product. But yeah.
Wow.
All right. So Netflix has decided that it will no longer let you do in-app subscriptions for its service if you're doing it through Apple hardware. Basically, it's forcing you to go ahead and go to their website if you want to change your subscription or do initial setup. This saves Netflix a ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
And some people I've read an estimate somewhere it was $250 million per year they're going to make just on this decision alone. So somebody could do the math and figure that out.
Yeah.
How many
honestly, this is something that I suggested when we talked about the whole Apple extortion, as I like to refer to it.
Right.
Because honestly, how many times do you have to put your payment info into Netflix? Typically it's once, and then maybe every couple years as your card changes. So it's not really a high pain point from a user standpoint. Very few people are going to say, well, I wanted to use Netflix, but I'm not going to log in on a computer. You might grumble about it, and then you'll completely forget about it because it just keeps working. So,
well, this is also an evolution of the conversation we've had when Epic Mega Games came out with their 12% thing, and Discord came out with their we're going to only do 10% instead of 12%. And so when I was hoping movies, I want this to happen in other industries too, because this is all the same walled garden situation. So,
absolutely.
Or possibility of a change happening in the future. I'm still, tooting that horn for that to happen. Come on, guys.
See, I got just a little bit of a different take on that. I'm thinking that potentially this could be a shot across the bow to Apple with their new upcoming subscription service, right? And it is going to be a lot like Netflix, I would think. So could be that, could be like, hey, these guys are really about to become a competitor here. Why do we keep paying them money, right?
I don't think Netflix is worried about the competition from Amazon or from Apple. But that may be another point of contention where it's like they weren't happy about paying the fees to begin with, and then that was the final straw. I could agree with you there, but
I think the timing is pretty clear on this in my mind, that we have seen a lot of movement in this particular situation, like Matt was indicating with Epic Games and stuff, moving away from letting Apple have their cut and finding ways to to get around that, or to give customers alternatives and stuff. And the reality is that it is more and more difficult for Apple to justify that large of a cut of companies like Netflix and Epic Games and stuff, where these companies have a significant brand. People go to their app specifically. There doesn't need to be a search feature. They don't even really, at this point, because of the reputation and the power of them, they don't need to have an app store distribution model, except that it makes things easier. But if they didn't, people would still find a way to get Netflix on their phone. Now, Apple's a little bit different, but like on Android, it would absolutely work that way. So I feel like it's just much more difficult now for Apple to justify their cut, but they aren't backing down on it. And so companies more and more are going to continue to find ways to get around paying Apple that cut until Apple realizes that their cut's unreasonable and no longer justified. When the App Store was the end-all be-all of everything, then it was justified because that was the only way people found out about new apps and app games and stuff like that. And that's not the case anymore.
Yep, I'm going to say something that normally I would never say. Well, actually, I would say in some cases, but it just sounds really not like me. Steve Jobs was right. Apple doesn't need an app store. Web clips are a thing. That's what they should all be using. But, yeah, I guess that ship has sailed. So.
But yeah, like, extortion has store right in the middle of it, so. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, Netflix had an interesting week for a certain movie they set up. Normally, we don't talk about movie releases and upcoming films and stuff like that on streaming services. But Netflix says over 45 million accounts, but that's an important word there, accounts, have watched Bird Box in like a week since it was released, which is about a third of all the accounts that they have, which is the highest, the best first 7 days ever for a Netflix film. Bird Box is the movie that's starring Sandra Bullock. It's only on a Netflix original. Basically, if you happen to look with your eyes out in the world, you see something so horrifying it causes you to want to kill yourself. And so everybody's walking around with blindfolds, and it's one of those scary movies that would probably something you'd probably like, Clyde. I don't know.
I think there's a little bit of, normally I would say awesome, good on ya. But I think there's a little bit of monkey business going on, because the other day I turned on my TV and Bird Box was playing. I definitely wasn't watching it. I don't know how it got started, but it was playing. And I immediately stopped it and backed out. So now it will forever be in my continue watching.
Yeah.
So was your TV off, and when you turned it on, it was already in the middle of the movie, basically?
Yes. I didn't know what was going on. I hit pause, and it said Bird Box. It's like, but I was at work.
So obviously you had your blindfold on because you had your TV off, but the monster was out there anyway.
Yeah.
So I have seen it at the top of my list every single time I've gone into Netflix. I have not watched it, though. Honestly, if my folks weren't here, I probably would have. This is the kind of movie that kind of interests me. Kind of thriller, scary movies, but not like traditional Nightmare on Elm Street horror type movies. But so I'm definitely really interested in seeing it. I probably would have already watched it. And to me, the key for them is the fact that it's just like front and center. Every single person, and my guess is every single person has it right up at the top, and it's really easy to get pulled into it. You just hit OK when you start, right? Like it's already on it when you open up Netflix. So, maybe some people have accidentally started watching it or whatever. I didn't have that kind of experience like you did, Clyde, but I'm very interested. I don't know what the
deal is, but it was, yeah. All I know is I kind of got turned off immediately when I saw the trailer, because most of the movie sounds like the premise from The Village.
Yeah.
with the blind lady trying to make it through the woods with the monster chasing her. Yeah, she wasn't wearing a blindfold because she was blind, but yeah. And there's like we'll see. Maybe one of these days I'll watch it. Maybe we'll watch it for a movie party. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm with Mike on this. I mean, I saw the trailer. I haven't watched the movie. It does look interesting. I'll probably end up watching it sometime soon.
I wonder, it says they watched it. Does that indicate that they watched at least the majority of the movie or finished the movie, or just that
That's
some portion of the movie?
Thing.
But like
Netflix,
like YouTube views or whatever.
They don't really expound on what their definition of watch
also
is.
They use the word accounts, not people or times. So that could have been you watched it. And then, I don't know. If you're sharing your account, somebody else, they've also considered.
I think that's a clear indicator. They would definitely should do that, right? Because the assumption is that while an account views it, that is not necessarily one person. That could be, in my case, 4 people or 6 people if my parents are here, right? So we watched a couple of movies over the weekend on Netflix, and that was 4 to 6 people watching it, right? So it definitely makes sense for them to utilize that terminology, accounts, because they don't know how many people are actually watching, but there's at least one person per account watching. So,
yeah, and it's important to note, don't confuse this movie Bird Box with the movie Birdcage. Birdcage was a great movie. I don't know about Bird Box.
Birdcage is one of those movies that is so fun to watch, no matter how you feel as a person and your beliefs about anything, because that movie is so on the nose and good about what it's doing. I recommend Birdcage to everybody.
Yeah. So if you go into the Birdcage expecting Bird Box, you might be very confused.
Oh,
but
that's bad.
Or no, sorry. You will be pleasantly surprised if you go into Bird Box expecting the Birdcage. You'll probably be very disappointed. I don't think it's as lighthearted and fun.
Right. So there's an interesting new way to travel. If you guys are traveling between a couple of places like Tucson, Phoenix, Los Angeles, and San Diego, you can now get onto a bus called Flixbus. Flixbus is a cool little program where you can get on, where they get a whole bunch of cool features like free Wi-Fi, power outlets, and now providing you with VR experiences. Right now, they're just trying it out with a couple of the more straighter rides, because obviously having a headset on of something in VR in a moving vehicle is very likely to get you to start having guttural feelings that must come up. I'm sorry, Mike. Yes, the barf bag is there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it is
this seems like a really bad idea.
Yeah, it does. Kind of sound like not the best idea for you to be getting onto a moving vehicle in VR. But hey, some people can get used to it and enjoy a long trip being totally immersed in the new and virtual environment. I've also heard of other buses like the sleeper bus, where literally you get onto the moving hotel between your destinations, and you get in, you eat a cookie, you drink a glass of milk, and you go to sleep. You wake up in your destination. It's like, that sounds cool. Yeah. I'd rather do that.
Although we've talked about pretty much every year leading up to CES. That is kind of my dream, is to be able to have VR that I can take with me, so I can block out everybody else and be in a room by myself watching whatever I'm watching. But I don't want to do it on a bus, because buses are notorious for people trying to take your bag, which makes it really hard. How do you protect your bag while you're blocked out? You don't know what's going on. So
yeah. Yeah, I would be. I have a strong suspicion this won't go over particularly well. I like the idea. I mean, we looked at that thing last year at CES, and I can't remember the name. Clyde, you might, but it was a kind of like a VR headset with headphones and everything. but it was really just to watch movies, right?
Yeah.
And so you were watching movies where you got a cinematic-like feels. You had surround sound headphones and a screen that took up your full field of view and was in goggles. That makes sense, right? Like, you're still just watching a movie and there's nothing VR about it. But, people get motion sick and get vertigo interacting with VR in a still environment.
Right.
You add the motion of a vehicle and whatever, and it is a recipe for disaster.
What about on a small
I am
boat?
not sitting next to a guy on VR, period.
So
Because he's going to throw up on me.
If you don't like the VR on a bus, how about on something like a yacht that's moving in 360 degrees?
No.
Yeah. So VR might work okay on something like a maglev train, right? Some like a bullet train or something like that, where once you get moving, the motion is consistent and smooth enough that you might not notice it that much. But buses are not smooth. They're not even on the straightest and best of roads, the wind and stuff. There's just going to be so much sway and stuff. It's not going to work. Bad idea.
So the reviewer here said he did try a service which allowed you to get onto a moving vehicle and have the headset on, but it synced what was going on in the world, in the virtual world, with what was going on with the car, and since they were in sync, it was fine.
Yeah.
So it can be done, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bad Weave looked it up. It's Phoenix to Las Vegas for $20.
Wow.
Yeah.
all right.
So, yeah.
Includes the VR experience. It might be worth throwing up once or twice. It's like going to the carnival.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's something that I have been completely ignoring, and that is a really interesting concept. Like, if it was a VR experience related to your travel, like maybe kind of an augmented reality type thing where it's showing you sights and stuff, or adding bad guys around the bus or whatever.
You're on a virtual train ride with, and you can shoot bandits or something like that.
If it's synced well to the motions of the bus, then that could actually work out just fine.
Oh, what if
But
you
that would
play
be
Desert Bus
really
on the bus? Have you ever seen Desert Bus?
That's the one you have to keep correcting the...
Yes, it's got a constant pull to the right, and you're driving through the desert from like Tucson to someplace else, and there's no other cars on the road.
And it's actual time.
Yeah, in real time. So what if you're playing Desert Bus
Like
on
an
a
actual
bus?
3-hour game.
According to the New Yorker, the worst video game ever created.
That's the one that somebody did a marathon. They brought that up at the end of
Speed run.
the streamathon. Somebody did like a 7-day marathon of Desert Bus.
Speed run. I want to see a speed run of Desert Bus. That'd be good.
But the problem is you can't do a speed run because it's in real time.
No.
All right.
Wait, well, the speedrunners sometimes they cheat because it depends if they're allowed to cheat.
Yeah.
The only difference. So this is what their VR is. You're driving the bus. That's it.
So all they need is just put a couple cameras on the front of the bus, put the headsets on. You're watching what's happening on the bus. That's it.
It gives you a steering wheel.
If you get enough people on VR and you give them this game to drive the bus, and then you just basically average out their controls to eliminate the person, and then you take your thing up and you find out there's not actually a driver, that you are actually driving this bus. There has to be enough people to average out the stupidity that some people like me
Twitch
would
drives
do.
the bus.
Yeah.
It's not Twitch plays Pokemon, it's Twitch drives the bus.
All right, hey, we should move on.
Okay, Roku has their cool Roku channel, which is for on every Roku player out there, and also available on the web, and even on other devices, if I remember correctly. They are now allowing you to add premium services directly to the Roku channel, much like Amazon allows you to add things like HBO. Looks like that they're getting ready to add things like Epix and Stars and Showtime. So you're now going to be able to choose which provider you want to use to pick up your premiums if you don't want to go with a direct route.
This is cool. And it actually clears up something for me because a couple weeks ago I got a thing from Roku saying, "Hey, the next beta, do you want to be part of it? You'll have to pay $50 out of your pocket, but it'll get refunded. It's for in-app purchases." And I signed up for it, but then I never got the email saying what I needed to do. And then I read this article and I went, "Oh, this must have been that."
Yeah, it must have been that, because then you would have gotten $50 of virtual money to buy your services.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And it was so. I mean, this is what they've been shooting for. They want to be able to deal directly to the Roku users if you so choose. Which I think is a smart idea. And if you live in the Roku ecosystem, it makes just as much sense as an Amazon user buying these subscriptions through Amazon. So, yeah, rock on.
Very cool. So, last story, maybe not the last story, but we have a story here about this new show on Netflix called Black Mirror Bandersnatch. Anybody seen or heard about this?
Ooh,
so
Bandersnatch.
It's a choose your own adventure style show where there are apparently many different endings, and maybe it's not even possible for everybody to see all the different endings out there. According to the article, there are several endings that are considered some of the best endings that you can get, but there are also endings that have not been found yet. So there are still things to be found out. It seems kind of interesting that they're continuing this concept of kind of a choose-your-own-adventure style of watching movies. Also, of note, apparently if you were trying to watch this show on a Chromecast or on an Apple TV, sorry, can't use that device to watch the show because it doesn't have the ability yet to do the interactive stuff.
Yeah. Wabbit says he watched it. And he said it's good. There's 5 hours of video, but you end up watching about an hour and a half. And then Hail to the Chief couldn't figure it out. Yeah, so it's very, when they say it's interactive, it is very interactive to the point where you actually have to actively be ready and you work for it. So it which for the casual user, you know, I would prefer if it was like just completely on rails and you could divert, you know, flip switches here and there, but if you choose not to, just go. But it doesn't sound like that's the way it is. But I mean, it's interesting. We'll have to check it out.
I'm very interested. I haven't seen any of the Black Mirror shows. Like, I kind of feel like I should see at least one episode before I jump into this. But I'm really stoked about it. I definitely want to see this.
Yep.
And that does end my news for the week, but we do have some more interesting stories for upcoming CES stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to those in just a second. Okay. Right now, we're almost in. We're coming up on an hour, so we did start a little bit late, but definitely want to make sure that we don't run out of time for thanking those of you that contribute to this show and make it so that we are actually somewhat financially viable. And, you know, those are the patrons. They're the ones that help make this happen every week. And we like to go out of our way to say thank you.
Now, we have an update. we have an upcoming thing we're going to have to do about cable cutting DVRs due to a request on our last show, correct?
Yeah. During the New Year's Eve stream, someone asked if we would do a shootout of OTA tuners, and you know what? They are a patron, so we said, absolutely we can. Can't guarantee how soon it'll be because, you know, Mike and I are leaving for CES here in a couple days. We'll be gone all next week and blah, blah, blah.
Hopefully there'll be some more options to see after next week.
Yeah, but the point is, when you're a patron, you actually get to ask those questions and get an answer that is most likely going to be yes, unless it's physically impossible or highly improbable. But yeah. So, you know, if you're not currently a patron and you would like to support this show, you would like to be part of that elite few, that is patreon.com/the VOD Squad. That gets you higher status on the Discord. You get access to threads and chats that nobody else gets to see, and also gets you your own private personal RSS feed of the audio feed that goes out every week. Right now, you are pretty much the only ones that can automatically download it. Anybody else that wants the audio feed has to manually, or has to go to archive.org.
Hey, don't tell them where to go. No. You can't tell them how to get it.
No, trust me. If they want to go through the hassle of going to the page, clicking download, and then moving it to their device of choice, go ahead. But there is an easier way.
Okay.
So let them feel the pain, and then it makes it that much greater when they get that automatic download through Patreon. So thanks everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there was a couple things I wanted to talk about. We're since CES starts next week. We're starting to get some information about things that are coming up. And the first one I wanted to mention is that last year, the big surprise was that Google was there. Because Google does not typically participate in CES. In years past, they stopped going when they killed the Google TV, and then they hadn't been there. They've always just let the other brands that are using the Google stuff kind of get all the credit for the Google technology. But last year they showed up with their big like funhouse thing with the slide on the roof that they told me I couldn't slide down. I was, Mike will tell you just how bummed out I was when they said no, I couldn't. But this year, apparently, they have reserved 3 times as much space as they did last year.
Yeah.
So not only are they back, they are like letting everybody know that that's basically what it's going to look like across the street. So
go ahead.
Oh no.
All I was going to say was that last year, basically, everybody said that basically Google owned CES because of all their advertisement. So this year, it's going to be worse.
Oh, I think it's going to be even better.
Yeah, I mean, so realize that Google is waging a full-on war against basically Amazon and a little bit Siri, right? This is a battle for the control of the smart home. And so it is totally logical that Google be at CES. They are working to get their devices and their technology, the Google Assistant, into as many devices and in as many homes as possible. So this is a war that's going on between the 3 contenders, but right now Google and Amazon are dominating this battle. But yeah, like if they want to win, they've got to get into as many devices and as many homes as possible. And there's a lot to be gained out of this victory. So makes sense.
You know, and the thing, but the fact that Google had a booth, that they had a presence in CES is what the surprise was. Yes, they were marketing all over town. They had the keywords on everything. But that itself wasn't surprising because that just looked like advertising. That looked like someone that said, hey, we don't necessarily want a show, but we will pay to, have a presence without actually having to be there. It was when we walked on and said, what is that thing with the big slide? And went, oh, that's Google. What are they doing? And so, yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what happens there. The other thing, which isn't completely in the realm of what we normally talk about here, but I think it was too cool to exclude, is that Hyundai is supposed to be showing off a walking and climbing car.
Oh, that's getting the four-wheeled vehicles to go up and over stairs is a thing that people have been trying to figure out for a long time. So, have they figured it out? That's the question.
Yeah, I will put this. I'll link this into the chat for people that want to read the article. And at first glance, you're like, why is this a CES thing? But historically, you get all kinds of concept vehicles at CES. I mean, there's a whole area of CES that's dedicated to automotive technology. But like last year, and we talked about, I mentioned it on the New Year's Eve stream. Mike and I saw there was like was it last year or the year before? There was that big delivery van that had a hatch in the top so drones could leave.
That was 2 years ago.
Okay, maybe that was 2 years ago. But it was interesting, So which kind of would answer how are drones going to deliver stuff to your house? Well, the FedEx truck rolls up on your street, and then the drones take off and deliver to all the houses, and then come back, rather than trying to fly across town. Or you could do search and rescue or something. But yeah, this is really cool. I hope that this is one of the things we can go for a ride in.
Yeah, I mean, the article says to exercise restraint in your hopes because they're saying it's probably not even going to be a full size.
No, I think it's going to be like a scale model. But I can dream.
Yeah. I mean, it would be amazing. And I mean, this kind of thing is cool. Obviously, it makes sense that we'd be going in that direction for like search and rescue and stuff like that.
We got to hang out inside that motorhome that had its own helicopter pad and a garage for the helicopter in the back,
Yeah.
So, yes.
Some cool stuff. Looking forward to seeing what's new this year.
I'm excited to see what comes up with CES this year. I really hope that something revolutionary or something very inexpensive comes out of it. So, one of the two.
I'm definitely really interested in the bean or egg-shaped robots that help you sleep. That you get to cuddle and help you sleep.
What's this? Does it purr?
They did say the headline was for CES, the robots are coming. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on in that picture. But who sleeps with the blankets down around their knees?
It's a little disturbing. I mean, she's
in Florida.
It's a weird position. And B, it's roughly the size of like a swaddled baby or something.
I'm looking. It's all the same picture. Yeah, I don't know. There was another story that I didn't grab. It says that the robots are cute and cuddly. So they're apparently during the New Year's Eve stream, I said I knew this is going to be the year of something that we don't normally see, but I didn't know what it was. Apparently, it's going to be robots. LG has some sort of robot that works with Google's Assistant. So like Google, from what I hear, Google Assistant is becoming one step closer to our own Rosie. If you remember the Jetsons,
depressed and everything.
Possibly. I mean, yeah. So I don't even know where this is going, and I'm definitely we will need to find out what this creepy lima bean is.
So this thing needs to be furry and needs to be marketed as a treble, and it's good. As a tribble.
I got a tribble for my my nephew, except they're called grumblies. They are essentially tribbles that scream and fart and make noises. And then when you shake them and you flip them in the air, and then eventually they go into like tantrums and it starts freaking out all over the place and vibrating around. But it's essentially just a tribble with a face on it. Yeah, so everybody go out and get one. They're only like, you can find them for like $12. Definitely
worth it. Rule of thumb: if you're buying somebody a present for their kid, the thing needs an off button.
Yeah. The other thing that I was actually pretty excited to see, coming up at CES, which is a company that we talked to last year, Royal. They are showing off flexible screen displays, tablets and phones and stuff that are flexible.
The problem is that they've called it the Flex Pi, and I don't know about that name. That name just doesn't sound quite right.
I think Royal, they have some cool products, but they usually seem to be just like not quite where you want them to be.
Aren't they the ones that did one of the cinematic glasses that I was talking about?
They were the ones that had the headset, but it had the big box that you had to carry, basically the iPad that you had to load all the videos onto. And it was like $1,200.
Yeah, so that was what I was talking about earlier. And yeah, I think it was a pretty cool product. I was really tempted to buy it, but as you indicated, it was very expensive.
Yeah, and that was, like I said, they have a history of making products that are really cool. They're almost exactly what you want, but there ends up being like one major thing that, it's not quite there. And I was willing to overlook the fact that you had to carry an iPod. Like, basically, think of a external hard drive enclosure that with you that was connected and running the headset. I was okay with that but it was the price. The price was just too much. So, yeah. But those are the main things that we know about right now that are exciting, that are, have me wondering, what are we going to see next week? So.
Should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, should we get over to check in with Big Voice Jay?
Oh, please, let's do it.
All right, where are we at, Jay?
Welcome to your Movie Draft Minute, presented by DiamondClub.tv for the week of December 31st, 2018. I'm your host, Big Voice Jay. To all those getting plastic surgery, let me just say, Happy New Year. Let's go to the scoreboard. Team VOD Squad falls to last place with $281.1 million. Team Movie Party jumps to 5th place with $297.8 million. Team Game Night is in 4th place with $387.3 million. Team Drunk Kids Gaming stays in 3rd place with $426.7 million. Team Retro Miseries in 2nd place with $468.9 million. And in 1st place for another week, it's Team Have a Drink with $538.9 million. That's your Movie Draft Minute. All totals are accurate as of January 2nd, 2019.
So those of you that are saying, wait, the numbers in the audio don't match the numbers on the thing. There was a little bit of snafus with the database over the last couple days, so the numbers haven't always been 100% accurate, but this is what it looks like as of right before the show, except I'm supposed to have 2 more million. Which this is the second time in a row that my last movie isn't showing up.
Your last movie didn't show up last time because the movie was canceled.
Semantics. Semantics. But still, this is 2 times in a row that my absolute last movie is like not there.
It's $2 million. Get over it, man.
Hey.
Not going to make a difference right
doesn't
now. Well,
matter.
it could make a difference. You're close from getting to 4th place from 5th place.
Yeah,
But
so we'll
it's
see.
pretty clear that Have a Drink has got too much of a lead for anybody to catch up at this point. Drunk Kids Gaming is the only, and us. We have another movie coming up too. But Drunk Kids Gaming has Glass, and that could be a big hit. It could be a huge hit. Who knows? They have a chance of catching up. And quite frankly, from what they chose...
Well, Game Night has Glass.
Oh, excuse me. My apologies. Game Night has it. And they could talk technically...
Drunk Kids Gaming, their last movie was Holmes and Watson, so...
Yeah, Game Night's 160-ish million behind. I don't think they've got enough, unless Have a Drink stops making money and Game Night just kills it with Glass. The odds are Have a Drink really has got this locked in, because Mary Poppins will continue to make money. It's still running number 3 at the box office.
Yeah, see, right. And I don't think I'm gonna get stuck in 5th, because, like I said, Bumblebee and Into the Spider-Verse are gonna continue to make money for the next few weeks. So
Aquaman is making such a beeline for becoming one of the best movies of the year of this draft. It's obviously The Grinch is still in a very nice trajectory, making lots of money every week. But Aquaman has got the highest, steepest climb I've seen in a movie in a long time. So apparently that's one of the best movies you could have picked this year. So good choice on them. Mm-hmm. All we have left is Glass, which is from Game Night, and Us with Serenity. And I doubt Serenity... hey... I'd be happy to take first place due to Serenity making $500 million. That'd be amazing.
Remember, this is a reimagining of the Firefly sequel. It is what Joss Whedon really wanted Firefly to end. Everybody should tell their friends that and go see it.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I want to know is, how does Aquaman have numbers on the spreadsheet for 1-3? That's tomorrow.
It's that good.
Well, let's just check it out. Maybe I'm
just putting the dates in on the daily data because there was a couple that were missing.
Yeah, I forget to throw that in sometimes.
And yeah, so it's already got.
Well, maybe
somehow tomorrow it's going to be 215 million.
Well,
let's see. We'll go over
in Puerto Rico, technically in the Atlantic time zone.
Yeah, I don't know.
So there it is, past midnight.
Yeah,
maybe. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. We should probably look at have anybody have anything final to say before we move on to rants and raves?
Yeah, I will mention. Well, I'll go ahead and do it in my rave. So
okay, rave on, Mister, or rant on.
All right, let's see if this thing works this week. And there it is. All right, who wants to rave? Who wants to rant? It's anybody's game. Take it away.
Well, yeah. So, like we were talking about the movie draft. So I did go see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, as I indicated earlier. The movie is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I absolutely loved it. Worth seeing probably again. And as you indicated, see it at a draft house if there's one near you, because the pre-show roll is outstanding. It is really good. I think my personal favorite was the Japanese Spider-Man, not the evil Mexican Spider-Man, but the Japanese Spider-Man. In the pre. I loved that. I wanted to go watch those.
It was kind of corny, but I loved the YouTube one where Spider-Man was in the grocery store and he finds the box of Uncle Ben's rice and he collapses to the ground. Yeah.
Oh, now I gotta go find that.
Yeah,
that was good.
Uncle Ben's.
Pretty funny. Oh, and then sorry. And then there was the thing. There was the other one that was good was the thing from the electric company in '74 that had the what was the Ruiner? And it was like the guy that was like ruining everybody's day, like melting their ice cream, and then it was it had it very 70s sensibility about it.
That's the one where Spider-Man never actually says anything. Everything's thought battles, right? Yeah. Okay. I think I've seen bits and pieces of that.
Yeah.
It was great. Like I definitely recommend going to the Draft House if there's one near you, because
I'm glad.
The pre-roll was outstanding. And I mean, that's one of the things I love about the Draft House, right? Like everything about them, I love. Like comfortable, food's great, seats are good. Almost every seat in the house is really good. Some of the front rows can be pretty iffy.
I wish the seats reclined more, they do at my normal theater that I like to go to.
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, I they're comfortable seats. They're very comfortable, but they do not recline as much as other theaters. But they put so much emphasis on the food and the quality of the food and stuff that like it makes sense why they don't. Like I love their chips and queso, outstanding. So
yeah, my issue with the seats, the seats are fine for me, but the closest Alamo is about 20 to 30 minutes away, and my friend that I typically have been seeing movies with, she can't sit in those seats because they don't recline far enough for her back. So then it's like, if I'm like, well, I'm going to Alamo, well, she's not going. So, but hey, it's one of those things that it's a pretty decent theater, and the unlimited popcorn and unlimited drinks is good. Except for one of the last movies I went to see, they just basically ignored me. They kept sticking. I would see them stick their head in and then walk away, and it was like, hello. My card's right there. It's up.
Yeah.
All right. Who else?
Well, we're running late, so I'll make mine really quick. Short version of a long story. I went to the store today. I was picking up stuff to make dinner tonight, and I dropped my phone.
Your Google?
My new Pixel 3. It's working now. But for a while, it turned off. I turned it on and said, we turned off because it goes due to too much heat.
The accelerometer.
No, too much heat.
Oh.
And then it shut down again. And turned it on again. And it said, we shut down because it's too hot. We're okay now. And 5 minutes later, it shuts down again. And I've called them. Actually, I got on chat with them, and they had me do a couple things. And now I'm running in safe mode right now. They want to see if it continues. It seems to be okay for now. And but I just got this phone.
Is this the same phone that you sent back and then they shipped it to the wrong address? That was your previous phone, right?
No, this is the one they shipped to the wrong address. Yeah. But my original one, I got. I had I had, maybe that was the one that they shipped to the wrong address. Anyways, I had a Pixel 1. I had this whole exchange issue with it because it broke. Finally, I got that was the one. That one I gave to my sister-in-law because she wanted to try an Android phone, and I said, well, if you're going to try an Android phone, try one of the best ones. Here, have this one. And so now I got this. I'm still paying for insurance on this. So
yeah, but when you dropped it, you didn't break the screen or anything.
No, it appears to be perfectly normal. I have it out of the case right now. It was in a life-proof case, so... Whoops. So it's supposed to handle
life-proof, but not mat-proof.
No, that was the metal piece that helps it stick onto my dash. So I don't actually glue them on. Okay. But I might be going back to the old standby cheapo phone for a little while if this thing keeps giving me trouble. So, Matt with phone woes once again.
All right, Jimmy.
Yeah, so I finished the third season of Daredevil on Netflix.
Okay.
And I really, really enjoyed it. And, I'm a little worried now, now that it got canceled on Netflix. I hope that Marvel picks this season back up and continues the story, because there's plenty of story left in that series. But if you haven't seen the third season, I recommend it, or any of the seasons of Daredevil. I recommend it. It's really a well done show. One of the better, tier 2 Marvel shows that are out there. So really recommend that one. And if you want something a little different, that's violent, kind of a crime drama, Dogs of Berlin. I've started watching that one on Netflix. Not one for kids. Don't have the kids around when you're watching that one.
Yeah. Another one you definitely don't want the kids around is a show that I got addicted to over the holiday weekend, which is Letterkenny. I mentioned it briefly in the New Year's Eve stream. It's a Canadian show. It's it's very written kind of like they probably started this on YouTube or something, and before they got picked up by Crave TV, whatever that is, I assume it's like an Acorn or whatever. It's Canadian. It is a very Canadian show. It took a while to kind of learn the slang that they were throwing around, but it is a very entertaining show, especially since almost every episode involves a fist fight or a brawl, because the main character has always been and will always be the toughest guy in town, so people are always showing up to challenge him. But if you've ever lived in small town America, you'll kind of understand this show. But it's it was something. It completely caught me by surprise, and I just finished all 6 seasons. I watched the last episode right before we went live, but there are only 6 episodes per season, so.
Very cool. And also, the Canadians, they somehow figured out comedy for some reason. I don't know. They've got it figured out.
Oh, and it is a very dry comedy. But when they do a good job, and they have they've got a established cadence with what they do, kind of like you would normally see with a comedy troupe, where then you've got your call and responses that you get on a regular basis, like catchphrases, and and you start to kind of expect things, and then when they don't do it, you're like, but what about the thing that you normally do? But yeah, I check it out. It's Letterkenny, all one word.
Very cool.
Yep. Alrighty then. Well, I guess we can go ahead and wrap up this episode. Again, this was the first episode of 2019. Next week, we will be coming to you live from CES. The show will be live from where we're staying.
House. From my house.
Matt, since it's Matt's birthday, we said, fine, you can drive. You don't have to go out with your family. We'll let you run the show.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
But as Media King 909 asked earlier in the chat, we'll be trying to do some live stuff from CES. Last year, I was doing some IRL on the spot stuff outside on my cell phone. We'll try and do that a little bit more and a little bit better. Because last year I was trying to do it by myself in the rain.
If there's some way you could just like post the feed somewhere, or then maybe we can do something while we're here to do some production pieces together.
And then we're talking about options that we can do for maybe some daily wrap ups. in a controlled situation. And so
keep an eye on our Twitter, and if you aren't already subscribed to our Twitter account, definitely hop on there, because we'll throw an announcement out a few minutes before, whenever possible, but definitely when we go live, you'll see it there. So get subscribed there and follow us.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, yep. And for those of you that aren't currently following us on Twitter, that is at the VOD Squad on Twitter. We're also, for those of you that maybe have not watched us live or joined us live, we do this every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central on Twitch TV. That's twitch.tv/the VOD Squad. Come join us, because that's where all the fun is. All these lovely people that are here have been submitting episode titles this whole time, and this is the point where I type remind and give you the link that go over there to Showbot and start voting on those titles.
And it's not too late to make a last-minute submission if you want.
It's not too late. When we head into the post show, then we will we'll pick a winner. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out, and all of you that were here that are here tonight, that were also here for the Streamathon. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for those that donated, and I mean, even if it wasn't during our show, thank you for everything that you guys donated to Children's Miracle Network throughout the day. It's really cool to see community come together and support each other. So with that, I say thank you. All right. Well, guys.
Laters.
See you later. Off to the post show.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.